Representing the South. I dig it. All right, gang. 12:30 on the nose. I think we're going to get rolling. Thanks for throwing some chats up there. I appreciate that. So today, the whole point of what we're coming here to chat about, and the whole reason this came about, this is one of those sayings, like one of those goofy things that I've said, I don't know, for the last 10 years when people ask me, like, what's the deal with the whiteboards and why, what's the tape on the floor, and like everything is in its own little box. And I just kind of jokingly said one day, I'm Waffle, I'm not a pancake. And that stuck. And I've heard so many people go, hey, I love that Waffle reference that you put out, and how everything's got its own compartment in its space, and it's very OCD, and it kind of fits, my style. And when I really started looking at it, my wife's like, everything that you make, every program design, like everything, it's all boxed. Everything has to have lines around it. You box everything in. She's like, that waffle thing you say, that really is you. And her first reference is always back to our program design. So probably the question I get asked the most about program design is, how do you create it? Like, what are you picking and why? And everything that I teach, that is the design, is like to give you guys that answer, right? But the question comes back to not like, why are you picking a hinge or what row, but it's like, what pieces are going where and why are you putting them there? That's really kind of what today is about, is like to give you the waffle outline, like the full grid of how to create a program design. And this, and what I wanted to know from everybody on here, if you're semi-private or one-on-one or online, like ideally this format can work for everybody for whatever we do. And I'm just going to kind of introduce it and go through it a little bit. And if you have questions, fire away at the end. And if you want further information on it, I mean, I can share all this stuff. They're just templates, things that I make up, and I'm happy to share them with the intention of maybe giving you some direction or you some thought on how you might create your own waffle, right? Your own grid of programming. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into that. If you have any other information you want to follow up on, TOA, Training the Older Adult, that is our main education website. Be Stronger Fitness is the studio I'm in right now, which we are closed for indoor training. We train right outside in the parking lot, and right now, because that's the way California is. And then we have the Bunker. The Bunker is our online training program. So we offer, a little bit of everything that we're going to talk about today. I'm not going to talk or go too deep into online training because I'm not actually very good at it. Like, it's not something that I've offered ever until this pandemic started and we had to close. And my clients like the interaction and my dumb jokes. I don't know why, but they like our interactions and so our online training really became like online group sessions where we would all get together and meet, and I lead the workout and I do it with them. And so we offer online training, but not like Jonathan Goodman online training where it's like a full business and your career path. It's just kind of something that we offer right now, really until we're able to get people back, in here live with us. And over that period of time, we've had opportunities to reach other people. We have a lot of clients in Florida. That's why I'm seeing you guys throw that up on there. I've probably got 8 or 10 clients in Florida right now, which is really interesting. My parents live there, so I'm assuming quite a few of them are friends of my parents. And then we have some clients in Georgia and Texas, Kansas, Oklahoma, Ohio, Washington State. A lot of these individuals, they pop on and they train online with us. And it's really not something that we've marketed or tried to put out there all that much, but it just kind of started to happen. And we've had, and a lot of them are you guys, are trainers looking for a way and a place to train and a way to do it yourself. So that's been a really fun and interesting and new, strategy for us, and something I'm still learning on, but I'm happy to share, kind of what we've done to this point. And when you really look at like the point of this template, the point of the format, the whole kind of run and the joke on Waffle is everything needs its place. Everything needs a committed time and a period, especially now, because we're so systematized with how quickly and how many people we can have in and how many can be here every hour and all that we need to make sure this system is really efficient. So the Waffle has its grid. The Pancake, everything just kind of smears and runs together and nothing's really efficient. And then that's kind of the running joke. My wife, I see her on here, I kind of jokingly call her the hurricane. Like, she's a giant pancake. All her shit just runs together. You come in, there's shoes over there, stuff over there. Can't wait to get home after she hears this. So she's a little bit of a hurricane. Like, there's a little bit of mess all the time. And then me, I've got all my stuff in this one. She says, it's all true. She says, this one, thank you, love. This one area in our office has all my stuff. And then you go to this one drawer in our bedroom, there's all my stuff. And there's 2 little boxes in the closet, there's all my stuff. So my little waffles are everywhere, and her pancake is the rest of the house. And those systems work for us, right? The whole thought of this is like, how can I give you a little bit of a waffle that you can make your system a little bit more efficient and a little more committed, a little bit more dedicated with your people, where you have something like this, right? That you can be like, oh, we have 10 minutes committed to this, 10 minutes committed to that. And it just gives you a little bit more efficiency in your programming and the right amount of time to commit into each section based on the demand of the client. And this can change from person to person. It can change from group to group. We have, typically, you guys can see all these whiteboards behind me. You see them all? Those are all different workout boards, and we use them every single day. So when we were able to get back in here and start training, which we were open for about 6 weeks, and then we got closed down again and asked to go train outside or close completely. Those were our options. When moving outside, I don't have all this stuff. We do a ton of rigging. I have equipment and things connected to these posts constantly. And that is part of what I offer, is that I'm able to manipulate and change angles and just rig up just the slightest change that's different from one row of a client to another row to work with their limitation. So now when I'm forced to go outside, I don't have anything to hook to. I don't have anything to rig to. Anything that I want, I have to carry it all out there and set this whole thing up. So every day I'm getting like 3 workouts in. I'm not complaining. I'm happy we're open. I'm just, my programming idea, my waffle is now down to basically 1. I have like 1 big waffle that we put outside, 1 program, and the majority of our clients do that. But what I'm used to doing is writing up 1 for each of our clients in a training purpose. So typically during this talk, I would say, have a different blueprint or different waffle, if you will, for each one of your clients, a different grid that they can kind of go through that's tailored towards their demand, their design, their prerequisite of what you want to create their program for. But in the time we're in right now, I've had to really simplify that. And to be honest, between you and me, it's not all much. I really liked being able to make something so specific and so detailed that I knew it was addressing the demand of the client, but I also knew that it was helping fix them. And now I'm kind of in the struggle where I'm like, we're doing good, like we're doing work, but it's not the best thing that I could offer them. And I'm really struggling with that. I'm having a hard time. The point where we have like welders coming in that are going to weld up bars for us that I can do this stuff outside, because it sounds like we're going to be out there for a while. Okay. So things to think about when you move forward with this. Like, some of the first things that we want to address is, before you make that grid, we need to know the time frame that you're going to be working with and the format that you want to deliver that in. And so as I asked earlier, are you an in-person one-on-one? Because I know every county and every city and every state, everything's very different now. Are you a one-on-one, meaning you, the trainer, 1 client? Are you in-person, semi-private, 2 to 6 people, or larger group, 7 or more? And then are you doing all those same things online, which you can? I have 10 or 12 people that come online with me every day, 9:30 Pacific time. We pop on every day. We have a different focus, different group. We have quite a few that will do it on demand, meaning just like with today, when we get done, you're going to get an email that says the webinar's done. Thanks for joining us. Here's the recording. So I may have 10 or 12 people that register. I'll have 8 that join me live, and the other 4 they watch it later on. So are your services available like this? And the reason we want the schedule and the structure is, pre-COVID, I had a format that allowed me to have 15 or 18 people in here at a time. I had an area designated for warm up and cool down, and then I had a training space for about 8 people. And so I'd have 8 going, and I'd have like 8 other people on the other side, either warming up or cooling down. And they were little platoons, basically. At 7:45, a group would come in, they'd start movement prep, they'd start getting ready. 8 o'clock, they would come onto the main floor. They're warm, they're ready. I don't need to be over there watching them do bird dogs and bridges. Like, I've taught them that stuff. They know how to do it. 8 o'clock, we can go. Well, the group that was in here at 8 now cycles over, and they start their cool down. And I don't need to watch them do, you know, abductions and thoracic rotations. They know how to do that. I've already taught them those. So they go and do that while the new group of 8 starts going. And then at 8:15, a new group comes in as the other guys go, and they start their movement prep. And then at 8:30, you know, and so we'd be able to cycle. And so it was a really efficient machine. And then COVID started, and we had to reduce that to 8 people or less every hour. And you had to clean the entire facility and all the equipment in between. So our sessions were running like 1 hour and 15. We're now 50 minutes and hard stops. I'm like, I'm not a hard stop guy. As waffly as I am, I wasn't a hard stop guy. I wasn't going to hurry people out. Like, this is my home, my extended home. So if people want to stay and talk and this and that, we would do that. So now, you know, it's in here. We start, we've got 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes. Like, it's super quick, this first little grid to get movement prep done. Then we go straight into the warm up. That's 2 minutes. Then we have 25 minutes for strength. And then we have 10 minutes for our burnout, Metcon, and then they got to go. They got to bounce. And during the next 10 minutes, I'm out with my alcohol spray and my wipes, and I have to clean and spray everything, and it has to air out for 10 minutes. And then the next group can start. And so that structure has really changed our blueprint of exactly what we could do. Where before I had a 15-minute warm up, we had, you know, a half an hour committed for strength and then conditioning, and they had another 15-minute cool down if they wanted to. They could spend 90 minutes here. And it's just drastically different now. It's completely different. So I guess the basic ways I would put this out to you is, are you doing in person or online or a combo of both? And what is your time frame? Are you doing a hard stop, 30 minutes, start and stop on the hour, on the half hour? Are you giving them some kind of menu to do beforehand? I know that a lot of our online clients, they want more prep because we tend to do maybe 5 or 6 minutes online, and then we start the workout. If you want more than that, on the bunker, like on our online landing page, we have warm-ups pre-recorded. And so at, you know, 9:15, they'll pop on there and they'll watch that 10-minute video. And it's me, 10 minutes, walking them through and doing the whole movement prep, all the exercises they need to do. And then at 9:30, boom, they're ready to go with me. Anything extra is just more movement prep to get them ready to roll, and then they're good. So you can offer some additional, you know, menus like that, additional videos before and after. So that's an option. Are you doing 45 minutes with 15 before and after, same thing, or 60 minutes? Just kind of depends on, you know, what you're looking at. So it could be a mixture of all these or variation. My bottom line is, you got to have something. You got to have an idea of what your frame is going to be. What's the big waffle, right? And so for us, it's 50 minutes, okay, is what we're working with. And so there's our 50-minute section that we have. Now we're going to decide what pieces, you know, what parts of the grid are going to be included. Movement prep is a must. We have to have that. Movement prep, we basically look at the major joints of the body and how we're going to prepare each one of those to mirror the movements of today and get them ready to do that. So I know we're going to have more overhead actions. We're going to do more, you know, overhead mobility movements and movement prep to make sure we're mirroring the actions of the workout to allow them to be prepped to do that and ready to do that. It doesn't mean that if we're doing military press, we're doing military press and movement prep. I might do overhead pull downs typically. If I had something to do that outside with, we do an overhead pull down, but then in the workout, we do landmine presses, right? So we would train the action, but maybe not necessarily the primary or the true movement pattern. So I want my movement prep, you know, 5 to 10 minutes. Again, depends on the window you're working with. Ours is 10. We're going to, you know, emphasize those movement patterns that are going to mirror our actions. And we're going to address like some of the standard requirements that I want to include every day, which for us is always some kind of bridge or hinging action. I really like, especially early in the morning, because we start at like 4 a.m., 4:30 in the morning. I have one client comes in at 3:45. Should you not? He's an early bird. Twice a week, 3:45. I'm actually still setting stuff up while he's coming in because I'm just like, I can't get here any earlier. I come midnight. All right. So we always do some kind of bridge or hinge, but I like to start with bridges as our hinge because people have been laying down for 6 to 8 hours, and then they pop in their car and they come here, and so they're stiff and they're not moving well. And these are all, you know, my clients are over 50, a lot of them over 60. So I need to do something to break at the hip, but not put pressure on their back. So we typically bridge like right out of the gate. I need to do some kind of thoracic mobility, thoracic rotation, and some kind of bird dog cross-sectional action. So you see those 3 listed there. Those are always there. And then anything else, I'm going to kind of mirror and attach that on. Okay. So mobility menu, and then personalized primers are corrective exercises for each of those individual clients. If they have one, they have, a couple, 2-3 minutes committed to these 1 or 2 exercises that are really going to address whatever their limitation is. Okay. Then we pop over to movement prep, and this is like true mirroring movements. Now we're ready to get the body warm. We're ready to start moving joints through big ranges of motion. We're going to add load to it now. So we're doing the chest pull series. We're doing split squats with a band. We're doing hammer curls to an overhead press. Like we're prepping now and getting some movement going, and they should get, a little warm, temperature wise, a little warm, and maybe even a little sweaty. Okay. And then beyond that, strength first. Okay. We use that term. The name of our business is Be Stronger Fitness. Like to my core, I believe that anything that I want to train you for, any goal that you want to pursue, to get there quicker, if I make you stronger, we're going to achieve that. Like I can't think of one single thing that if I made you stronger, it wouldn't get us there quicker, right? It wouldn't help us achieve that. So to me, like strength is the make or break, but strength is also such a foundational piece that it has to be addressed first with everybody. If you're a fall risk client and you're 90, if I get you stronger, and then I work on coordination, balance, reaction time, spatial awareness, cognitive, dual motor, if I work on all that stuff, right? But if I get you strong first and then you can work on all that, it's even better, right? If you're, you like to golf, if I get your foundation stronger, you'll be able to produce more power, more stamina, swings longer, you don't get tired while you're golf, it transitions, right? So whatever the purpose is, I've yet to find someone that's too strong where I don't need to train them for strength. And I've yet to find somebody that will not benefit from being stronger first. So if I can do my movement prep, my correctives, and then get a warm up in, and you're pretty much ready to go, and we've spent 10 to 20 minutes doing that, and now we're going to go into like the primary focus of our training is going to be on the strength first section. You are prepped and ready and most attentive. You're not exhausted. This is like the big key part. Okay. So for this program in particular, we have a hinge, a row, a split, a carry, and an overhead action. Those are my 5 movement components. And I teach those and do those in every single workout we do, no matter what. And it doesn't always have to be 5 things. I can marry some of those together. I can do a split squat to an overhead press, and I check, right? Made my 2 boxes. So those are 2 things that if you want to learn more about blueprinting, go to my YouTube page, just go to Robert Linkul on YouTube, and you'll see like 900 videos on how to program for that stuff and how to create a blueprint for it, okay? But you see the ones in the examples I put up on there. So we're prepped, we're corrected, then we're warm, then we train strength first, and this is hard, and we're going, and we're lifting weight, and the load, notice how I grid this in there, I've programmed everything except for load. It just says moderate or heavy or easy with a bracket. And that means that I'm the trainer, I'm the judge. So I'm gonna watch them do their first hinge or their first row, and I'm gonna say, that looks good, go heavier, that doesn't look good, let's stay there and refocus. And now I'm using my professional judgment skill to say, let's advance or let's stay or let's even regress if we need to, right? Because these aren't pro athletes, these aren't, clients that really have their mind around, hey, I got to train tomorrow. I need to get enough sleep and make sure my carbs and my proteins are right so I have good energy. I need to make sure I'm hydrated. Like a lot of our clients don't think that way. So, and the reason I'm telling you that is not that they're not prepared, but we're not placing so much emphasis on our training day every day with our trainer that their efforts can't vary. You know what I mean? Like we will see more consistency in a professional athlete because they're taking all the steps every day to work that hard. With our clients, regular everyday folk, they're not thinking beyond the next couple of hours in some cases, let alone the next day. So I need to be able to judge day to day when they come in and I see bags under the eyes and they're barely, focused and seeing me while we're going, like, I can't max you today. You're barely awake, you're barely here, and you want to try to movement prep and then do a 8 rep max on the hex bar. Like we can't do that today, right? So you need to judge those things. That is part of the profession. And though your program might call for it, and though it might screw up everything that you're going to do, you need to make those decisions, be the professional. That's what you're being paid for. And even if it's to their dismay, like if they're like, no, today is testing day, I've been there. And I've gone against my better judgment, and almost every single time somebody gets hurt, someone gets exhausted, someone doesn't test well, and we go backwards, right? And that's kind of my thing, is like, I'd rather consistently, slightly undertrain people and be able to train year round than overtrain them once and go backwards. They're hurt, you know, they get sick, and God forbid somebody throws up or something from a workout being too difficult. Injury is really the big one, right? Where now they're pissed at you because you overtrained them, and you know you're backpedaling. You're like, I should have listened. I feel so bad. Like, I've been there too, and it feels bad. It sucks. And I you know, you mull over that. Like, what should I have done different? In every client's case, if they don't have a culminating event, meaning a date that you have to be ready by this time, those clients are always slightly undertrained clients for me, because I'd rather them train 52 weeks a year, right? And get a little bit better every time than have these peaks and valleys where I need recoveries, because most of our clients are going to program that stuff in themselves. They're going to go on vacation. They're going to take days off. They're going to have holidays that come up. Those are, you know, pre-designed recoveries. So my programming year round should always be just challenging, and it should be hard, and there should be ups and downs. But every time they leave, they should be like, that was tough. It didn't destroy me, but it was tough, right? And so we're always getting value, and there's always a new challenge, but we're not over designing and over requesting of them to do something that gets them so sore, so, you know, to a point where they get injured. Now, you know, nobody's winning. So the strength first, get on a rant there. The strength first is really like the meat and the potatoes. Like 80% of your programming needs to be focused there, in my opinion. Okay. And then we move on to the second part, conditioning part. And these are metcons, burnouts, finishers, whatever terminology you're using, or this can be very sports specific at this point. So one of our boards up here would be Golf Strong. And then in like a month and a half, we start Ski Strong. And you're like, Ski Strong in September? Yeah. I mean, it takes like 90 days, in my opinion, to get somebody's knees and their back and their hips ready and capable. So when they go up December 1 and they're like, I'm going to go skiing, they crush it that day, and they come home and they're not sore at all. And that's how I judge it by, right? Like, they get done and they're like, my legs feel great. I couldn't be happier. Goal number 1, they don't get hurt. Goal number 2, their legs aren't crushed and they're not, you know, wobbling around for the rest of the day. And so when I hear that, I'm like, this program worked. So I am training them with the mindset, with the goal of a sport coming up, with an event coming up. And so I was talking about, like, the waffles can be different pieces, right? But again, to get you ready for Golf Strong, strength first is a huge piece of that. It's 80% of it. Then after that, I could have a Metcon that's specific to lower body muscular endurance in the lateral plane, single leg supports, you know, 80 or 90 degree angled step ups and whatever it might be, you know what I mean, that you're going to program in that day. And then a cool down when you get done. You don't want to just blast people and then say, yeah, on your way. You know, you might have a cool down temperature wise where they're cleaning up their stuff and doing, but you want to have a couple of minutes where you let people calm down, cool down, and be able to kind of gather themselves, and gives you a chance to, you know, to get a feel from them. Are they overexhausted and they're going to drive home and black out on you? Which, you know, we've had some clients who go, I got in my car and my arms were shaking and I had to just sit there for 15 minutes before I felt better. That freaks me out. You know, what if they started driving? And I know I push people and I want them to do well, but you don't always see that on somebody. They're not going to show you. We're really good at masking that stuff. No, I feel great. I'm good. And they're white and they get in the car and they're trying their hardest not to throw up, right? And it's like their second day of training ever in the last 30 years. Like, those are the people we get, you know, get people that are not undertrained, not trained, zero training. And then they come in here and you're like, yeah, we'll just do a basic little gentle workout. And it could be the movement prep, mobility, and the warm up, and they're shot. They're not going to show you that. And they can't walk for 3 days, and, you know, et cetera. So keeping all those pieces of the waffle in mind, which one of these is best going to address the demand of your client? Where do you want to commit these time frames at? Mobility menus, now that we're outside, it's like 5 minutes. Movement prep is another 5. So that those first 2 are cut down and built together. Strength, we do actually a little bit more. We do like 25 minutes of strength now, mostly because of what I'm dealing with equipment wise. We can lift a lot more than I can condition outside, right? Majority of the conditioning stuff that we do, I do sleds and prowlers and ropes and inertia waves and med ball throws and returns, and all that's in here. The only thing I can take out is like my sled, but I only have 2 of them. So I have to spray it in between every time I have a client, right? So we can't do that. So it's like, we've had to adjust and shift this around a little bit. And then the conditioning, we do, about 10 minutes still, that at the end, really good burnouts. I love doing burnouts, like 5 to 8 minutes at most. I mean, you can gas people out hard during that time if you program it well. And then they got this huge benefit of all the strength that you needed while they were fresh and they were focused, and you just hammer them the last 5 to 10 minutes. And again, I'm not crushing people, but we're working hard those last 5 to 10. And then when they leave, they're like, dude, this was legit. Like, this was a good program, right? That's exactly what I needed. Because if I just hammer them for 45 minutes, they're too wasted. Nothing gets really done well because they're so tired and they know it. They see how much stuff they have to do. But when they see the little grids, they see the little boxes. Do this one twice, boom, 5 minutes. Do this one twice, another 5 minutes. Like, they can achieve these little things. And if they know they've got squat jumps and, walking lunges and jam ball slams and whatever else we're going to do, but they only have to do like 7 minutes of that, and they're like, I can sell out for those 7 minutes, right? So the grid actually becomes like a really good tool for you, because your clients can start to see, we want to work hard. They want to work. Like, they don't come in here and they're like, easy today. They might say that, but they don't mean that shit. Like, they come in here, they want you to let them have it a little bit. That's why they're there. Okay. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to do it, or they don't want to do it. And they know that if I commit my time to you and my money to you, then all those things are going to be achieved. The what and the why, how to do it. And that you're sitting here going, all right, let's go. Right. The expectation is set. I mean, you're a parent figure in a little sense, right? Here's what I expect you to do. Now go work hard, right? You don't have to yell and scream at them. Some of you guys do. That's cool. That's part of it, right? Sometimes I yell at people. Other people, I just give them the look. And they're like, you're like my dad. You give me a disappointed dad look. And I'm like, well, you're disappointing me. And they're like, okay, I'll go. And I give it to them, man. Like, I let my clients have it. And then afterwards, normally they would hug me and say, that was exactly what I needed today, And like that exchange, that fuels me too. So they see this and they're like, I want to do that. It's going to suck, but it's also awesome. They know they're going to feel good afterwards, So there's a big piece to that, is like committing that time, letting them see it, know how hard, set the expectation. Now we're going to determine, and again, this can change from day to day. Like our Fridays, we do Fun Fridays. So basically Fun Friday is 5 minutes of movement prep, 5 minutes of warm up, and then 40 minutes of high intensity interval training. And they go, and it's like most of my clients that come on Friday, like our average age goes by about 10 years. We're probably like 45, 50 on Fridays. And then Monday through Thursday, we're probably like 60, 65, average age. So our clients know, like, Fridays are go days, and it's a different template. It's a different format, where our strength and conditioning days and our ADL days, like those different focuses, the times are going to shift. So you can have a couple of these. Like I have this blank, this template blank for you. And if you want that, just hop on our website or get on there and email me, and I'll send it to you. And I can actually email it out to all you guys. If you guys want that, you just let me know. I'll send you the PDF. I'll send you the recording. It'll be on YouTube as well. Plus you'll have the demand link. And I can send you the PDFs and the templates for this. So you can just fill them in as you want, right? If you want to be old school, write it in or type them in. That's fine with me, okay? But I would prefer that you build your own, because this should reflect how you want to train, But if you want a template that's waffled and then you write in your own stuff, love it. That's exactly what I want, okay? So now from hour to hour, client to client, group to group, whatever it is, you need to decide, where are my time frames in here? And you got to stick to that, because it's really easy for us to go, oh, we're going to corrective today. And you're 20 minutes into corrective. And it's like, y'all, this is great, but what about everything else? Like, we get stuck in those mindsets, like, they got this bad shoulder and we want to fix it. Yeah, but remember, being strong and conditioned is going to help fix it. So spend 5-10 minutes doing your correctives and like addressing that, and then get to work, right? Well, they got a bad shoulder, they can't do all this stuff. Yeah, they can. They can do anything. If you program it right, if you modify it right, if you adjust it right. And if you don't know how to do that stuff, I mean, sorry to like self-plug, but that's the stuff I teach, man. Like, that's the physical limitations course that's coming up in next week. Like, that's our TOA course. Like, that's the stuff I teach, is like, you got a jacked up shoulder and you can't get overhead. I teach progressions for that. Like, that's the stuff, right? I mean, that's what they come to us for, is to fix that. So we want to have a hard workout. We want to push it. See you, Scott. No worries, buddy. Thanks for the message. We want to push it and we want to do that stuff, but we got to find the right way to do it. Because if you're avoiding the limitation, now you're not doing your job. What did they come to you for? I got this bad shoulder and you just keep avoiding it, right? Program this, give me time to improve it, but also give me time to work on my health, to fight COVID, to do everything else that we're trying to do with people. You're the mastermind to this, right? You're the cook, and you have to delegate. Where are we putting our times? Where are we putting our efforts? So you have to establish that. What is the highest priority right now for this individual? Let's commit the most time to that. What's our second highest? Let's get the second most to that, and the third, and so on. And you just got to delegate that down. And so for me right now in this format, training outside, cool down is like 5%, if that. I can let people cool down on the sidewalks over there as I got new groups of people coming in, right? Where before it was 20%. I'm not saying it's not important. I'm just saying for right now, the standards and the times, the protocol that I'm allowed to work with, things have to have priority. And the most bang, the best bang for our buck right now with my clients, it's committing 20, 25 minutes into strength first. That's our focus. And this is going to change for all of you based on your style and the people you're working with and your philosophy. And I want you to do that. You got to go through the steps. You got to decide, where is this all going in? Okay. So now that you have an idea of what areas you think are the highest priority down, and you have an idea of how much time you want to commit to each one, now is the time you start to plug in the hows and the whys and what we're going to do. And so again, I have multiple talks that go into macros and micros and so on. I call this a mini macro cycle, because really what it is it's a full training program, but it's like condensed down to 12 weeks. Typically it'd be a year, but most clients, the first time they come to train with you, the average client will give you, 12 weeks, 8 to 12 weeks to show your worth. So let's program that. Reps, sets, loads, tempos, total volumes, recovery periods. You can build all that stuff in there. Again, a lot of you, you're experienced trainers, you know what you're talking about, right? You know how to do this. You just maybe haven't put it down on paper before. So this is a fun drill to kind of go through and be like, okay, I am pretty organized. I've just never written it down. And now when you get an intern or a coworker and someone's like, I want to train like you do, now you got a tool to teach them, right? Didn't have that before. It's all up here. And I get it. I know you guys know your stuff. Have you put it down on paper? And can you teach it to other people? And do you know what you're doing from week to week? I worked with a teacher once and a coach. And my first time in, like my very first day of work, she goes, so here's what I'm doing with the girls in the weight room. And I'm like, cool. What are you doing next time? And she goes, I don't know. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? And she goes, I don't know. We'll figure it out on Thursday, Tuesday training session. And I'm looking at my notes and I'm like, I can tell you what I'm going to do 3 months from now. You know what I mean? As of now. Like, how do you not know what you're going to do on Thursday? And she goes, I've been coaching for 35 years, Robert. Thursday comes, I know what to do. I just don't know it right now. Like, I haven't sat down and written it out yet. And so when I went back and I looked at her programming, it did follow a linear undulating system. There was a mindset to it. When you do something so long and so many times and you're so integrated with it, you're set in your ways and you know what's coming. But when you write it down, and a lot of times you haven't seen it this way, and you start to see weaknesses and you start to see strengths and you start to see areas of improvement, right? And you start to see things. So I'm a big fan of writing stuff down and then like interpreting the results, the data of how that went after these 12 weeks. How did everybody fare? Because I want this 12 week to be really efficient. So when I do it again, it gets that much better and that much better. And maybe 5 or 6 years from now, I can have it so dialed in that when a brand new client comes in that's completely untrained and we start with like week 1 and start working through, they just crush it over 12 weeks. Like it couldn't have been better, right? And I always use the pursuit. Like you're never gonna have the perfect program design. You're gonna look at it 2 weeks from now and be like, I should have done this different. You're gonna look at it 5 years from now and go, God, this is embarrassing, right? Like I'm so much better at this now, but to this day, to this moment, to right now, how are you programming? Why are you programming? And if you just pick stuff, and trust me, like I did this a long time ago, so don't feel bad if what I'm about to say you're doing. If you're driving in every day and you're like, oh, I wonder what we're going to do with people. If you're doing that, you need to get a little more organized and you need to get more efficient in what comes next. Because what I can tell you tomorrow, okay, is that we're in muscular endurance phase, week 8. We're doing sets of 20. I'm going to have them on a ready go format, which means as soon as I think they're ready, I tell them to go. So I'm judging that recovery period, right? So I see my reps, sets, loads, tempos, all that. I know we're going to do, as you see here, top left, hinges, rows, splits, carries, and overhead actions. What I don't know is what hinge I'm going to put together. I don't know what row I'm going to put together. So I know all the pieces and the reps and the sets, just the fine detail of exactly what hinge. I'll design that the day of. What equipment do I have available? What space am I going to be in? And that can change, right? So I don't need you to program 3 months now. I need you to have a system or a template that allows you to efficiently program 3 months as it comes along. Like my coach, she knew it was coming. She just didn't have that system written out so I could see it, okay? So I know my 5 components and my pieces. I know my modalities that I want to address every day. And then I know my reps and my sets and my loads and how we want to train and progress. But every day I get to be creative. I get to pick those pieces, right? Right here, you see this. I was working on this during the break. Can you guys see that? It's a little washed out. There you go. So I'm working on that. That's tomorrow's program, you know, and I'm sitting here going, oh, I got 20 minutes before we start. What hinge do I want to do, right? What interval? And we just did this massive leg day yesterday and today. And so now we've got this, you know, emphasis 70% upper body coming up. So I program that in. So you get your map, but you get to design how to get there. That's the fun part. That's the art of personal training, right? Being the chef, creating it your way. Still the Cosgrove's analogy, they always, you know, making cookies. And they're like, you know that you need dough or whatever you call it, dough, and you need butter and I don't know, chocolate chips, and you need a cookie tray, and you got to have an oven, and you got to cook them for 12 minutes or whatever that might be. And outside of that, you pick the frosting, you pick the toppings, you want ice cream, you want to overcook, you know, flour, thanks, Carrick. Yeah, I think the flour, there you go, to make the dough. Now we're talking. Obviously, I'm not the baker in our house. So it's like you use, you know, but you got to have the system is their bottom line. And then when you go through number 5 now, you implement that plan. You built your macro cycle, you have your template, you know, implement the waffle, go to your pieces, train it, record it, get feedback from your clients. They feel good, they feel exhausted. You know, obviously everything they're doing, you get, you know, 168 hours in the week, and you get them for like 2 or 3. Obviously they're going to have, you know, some say in how successful it is, how tired they are, all that, but get their feedback and try to take that and like interpret it back into this program and see when you were highs and lows and when people did well and when you have, you know, a good system and a good opportunity to really kind of test your people and when they might need more rest. Because like with any trip, you know, that you go on, you'll have a plan of getting from A to B, but things come up along the way and we got to stop and eat and we're going to take a break here. And, you know, like things vary, things change, and you need to be flexible with that. So I have this 12-week and I have it set, but if I get to week 7 and people are shot and we're trying to do 4 sets of 8 with heavy load and they're just not ready, they're not responding, then I make a change. But I record that change. And the next time I do this, I know, okay, week 6 did everybody in. I need a little more recovery, you know, a little more open, a little bit, maybe we do some unilateral floor-based activities that week, you know, to take pressure off people lifting heavy. And I can modify that and change it. So start to interpret it, get your results, you know, build your new program. And then eventually, like, the goal is to get to this kind of stuff. And I know you might look at this and be like, oh, geez, this is overwhelming. It really isn't. This is super simple. It just, all this is time for me to write it down. And I encourage you to do this, okay? The physical limitations course I have coming up next week, that's the top left. And basically the first week, I'm going to kind of introduce this blueprint, and we're going to talk about all these injuries. And then every Tuesday for the next 7 weeks, we're going to go through each one of those rows, okay? The hip, the back, the shoulder, all that. And I'm going to just show you all those exercises and talk about all those modifications and how making a change from pronation to neutral frees the impingement and allows less bicep activation and more rhomboid. And we're going to go through all those pieces. But all that was years of me having this experience, getting to work with people that have had those injuries, having a lot of those injuries myself, building that feedback in there and going, this should be step 1, and this should be step 2, and this should be step 3. For the average person, everybody's going to be different, right? But I want to at least give you like some direction. Do this column, and if those things are working, then you can progress here and you work up in waves. So that's a program that we build. My blueprint, our generation down there in the bottom right, those are just all of our 5 components and all the majority of the movements that we do. I teach all those. And then on the bottom left, I've gone through every single exercise that we offer. And we talk about the areas of focus, the muscles involved, the agonist and the antagonist, all the way down to the origins and insertions, because we need to be masters of anatomy, right? We really do. We need to understand the anatomy well. So when we, ask our clients to apply something and they're like, this hurts, and you make a change, why did that change work? Were you just guessing, or do you understand the anatomy of that, right? Brings so much value to who you are as a pro. So there's a movement, the areas of focus, progressions and cues you can use, and notes of that. And our interns and our other trainers, they love this, because they're like, why is a foot elevated bridge position better than feet on the floor? Not better, but like, what different service is this offering my client? They can just refer to this. And I've got pages of this that we've printed and made for all the majority of our movements. And again, like I was saying, not rocket science, not some new thing that nobody's ever done before. It's just time to sit down and do it, and to update it and to progress it. And so I built that in, and that's stuff that I, would love to share with you if that's something you have an interest in. Our physical limitations course starts next Tuesday. I'm super pumped about that. I have a discount code here for you coming up in a second. And if you want to just keep up to date with us, social media, Instagram, Facebook, check out our pages there, trainingtheolderadult.com, look at Robert Linkul Instagram, hop on YouTube as well. I'd love it if you guys would subscribe and follow us on there. And then with this guy, if you want to sign up for this, again, we start next week talking about the blueprint, and then the week after that, we go right into the hip. And I've had 3 hip replacements. And so this is like near and dear to my heart. I've had back surgery. I have shoulder issues right now I'm dealing with. Like, all of these things, I've got some personal involvement in these, or I've trained clients who've had bilateral knee replacements, right? Had some detailed experiences with this, and I'm really excited to dive into that and show it to you guys. So if you're interested, hop on there, put in Waffle 10, get yourself 10% off. And you get NSCACUs. NSCACUs are accepted by every other organization, every other certifying agency. So you can report them. And if you have any other questions for me, what we have coming up in the future, what we can do program-wise, anything, feel free to throw them in Q&A or up on the comment section now. Obviously, you shouldn't ask me questions about baking cookies, because I don't know anything about that. But anything else, I'm happy to stay on here. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for being here today. Hope you got some good pieces you could take away, some things you could start to implement. And again, you want the templates, just let me know if that's a demand from you guys. I'll put it in the folder and send it to you. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And questions, feel free to fire away. All right, so one pop up on here. Jump over here real quick. How do you handle load selection and increases, client self-selection? So Thomas, good question, my man. I get that a lot. So when I go on vacation, which I'm so due for right now, when we go on vacation, I have a format, like a template of the workout that I leave, and that John and Marcus or whoever's here covering for me, they will implement. And the one thing that takes me forever is that I have to go through every client for every exercise for the whole week that I'm gone and write in the weights that they're going to use, because I know those weights. And basically, if you can do a 35-pound dumbbell on a pullover for 3 sets of 10, and I know that, I'm going to leave you instructions to do a 30. So I just pull everything back a little bit, and I start there. And then I ask my trainers, or if I'm here as well, I say, start with what I ask you to do. And then for the next 3 or 4 rounds or whatever else we're doing, if you want to increase, and if I agree, we can do that. So we have the warm up done. They're ready to roll. They're ready to accept load. And then I prescribe that first load, and then they do it, and they're like, 30 is super easy. I feel great. And that's what I observed. Then I'll say, grab a 35, get the next set. Now let's go to a 40 and let's try to hit a PR, right? And mind you, we don't do singles. We don't do doubles. We don't do triples. Like 8 is the lowest number that we'll go to. And we'll project 1 reps from there, but that's with few and far between our performance clients, maybe 15 or 20 of them that we do actually do that with. Everybody else, it's like an educated and judged, lift, and they did anywhere between 8 and 12. And I'm like, that looked great. That's the number. And then I'll give them a projected 1 rep if they want to know. If not, I just know, okay, you can do a 40 for 3 sets of 8. That's your PR. And so if that looks good, we'll adjust. But we'll get people that are like, no, I feel great. Let's do it. And their arms were bent, and it was more like a tricep extension. And I'm like, let's stick with the 30. Let's do 1 more round. And I want to see you really, keep your arms as long as you can, get your bicep to your ears. Like, let's really work on the range of motion. Show me you got this. And if you can do 8 of those, then we'll get going up. And typically by the second set, they try to do all that. And they're like, yeah, I can't get my bicep to my ears. I'm like, why don't we go to a 25 and let's really do that well. And then we'll see if we can graduate back to the 30. And so that's the judgment side, right? Like, it would be great if it was just always linear. Do this for 6 weeks, go up 5 pounds, do this for 6 weeks, go up. We'd be geniuses and we'd be awesome. But the body just doesn't work like that. So we have to judge it. We have to assess it. And you're going to see physical cues. You're going to get verbal cues, like, man, this just feels hard today and it's challenging. And it's them kind of saying like, I'm just not up to this, but I want to keep trying. Then make the adjustment. And that keeps them from being embarrassed and being like, this shit's too heavy. I just can't do it. You know what I mean? You don't get to that point. You give them the opportunity to still perform and do well. And you really place yourself as an expert too, and kind of interpreting that and seeing it. Squatting, you guys have seen bad squats before, in a goblet, bar under your back. I'm not a back bar squatter guy anymore. I gave that up 10 years ago, but in the goblet, as they come down, rounding the shoulders, the head's dropping down, or the head's wrenching up, trying to secure the lower back, the butt's tucking, the knees are drifting, the toes are heavy. Like, start to see any of that, it's fatigued, And a lot of times when I address this and I'm like, so I'm just judging every day the load, people are like, well, how do they get any better? And how do the people know? And how can you show on paper? You're going to report that and you're going to put it into your paperwork and you're going to show progression. But remember, your client isn't here to pull over 40s. They're here to get rid of their shoulder pain, right? They're not here to goblet squat a 60-pound dumbbell. They're here to not have their back hurt anymore. So that's the last question, is everything that we just did we get to the point where your back doesn't hurt anymore? Then we're winning. Then this is successful and everything's going right. Now I'm happy. You're happy, and we can keep progressing. But if they're there to, set new records in the bench press, I'm the wrong coach. I'm not here for that. I'm here for working with people that are broken, that don't want to be broken anymore, or want to find a way to train with this limitation, not around it, and to get better and maybe improve it or be the best version they can be, because there's nothing wrong with being broken. I'm severely broken, and I don't mean that in like a pity way at all. I've got all kinds of limitations and can't jump and sprint and do any of that stuff anymore. Train hard. Like, I still have opportunities to feel athletic. And that's new. That's new for me in the last couple of years, is like being able to feel like an athlete again. Mentally, that's been great for me too. How can I relate that to my people and like get them to experience that? So maybe you can't do 40s anymore, when you're an offensive lineman, but your 2 knees have been replaced and you're better now. And I can still have you push a prowler in the parking lot and you can feel like an athlete, right? That's judgment of what we do. That is to the T of what we're trying to implement with our people. So hopefully that answers your question. I don't know if I don't mean to avoid it by just saying like, yeah, you go up 5 pounds every 6 weeks. That's just not the right answer. Templates would be great. You got it, Neil. Always great learning from you. Thank you, my friend. Well, I appreciate you guys. Let me check my comments here real quick to see if anybody else popped up over here. How long is the physical limitation? So we do, I'm going to say up to 75 minutes every session. So a little over an hour, and it's 8 weeks total. So we go August 18th to October 2nd, something like that. And the next weekend is our live event here. Evan Osar will be here with me, and we're going to be doing arthritis training for people with arthritis through the body. So that should be pretty cool too. That leads us right up to the live event. And that live event's going to be zoomed in as well, so we know that most people aren't going to be able to travel probably at that time. So thank you, Tina. Thank you. I appreciate it. Alexander, thank you. You guys, you're awesome. Really appreciate you being here. Again, thank you for the time. Any other questions, feel free to email me. You guys got my phone number too. Feel free to text. Don't forget your Waffle 10. If you're going to join us for the physical limitations, we'd love to have you. Have a great day. We'll see you guys next time. Make sure you sign up for our email list too if you don't have it, and follow our social media. Appreciate you guys. Have a good day. We will talk to you soon. Take care.